Jack, thank you. At this time, we have on the phone with us John Miller, who is the president of programming for NBC's Sports and Versus. John, if you're with us, we'd like to invite you to offer some remarks at this time.
Well, I just want to say on behalf of NBC Sports, our relationship with Notre Dame is one of our most important partnerships and has been for in excess of 20 years. And the opportunity to broadcast Notre Dame hockey games as well as Hockey East games is something that was very exciting for us as we rebrand the NBC Sports Network, and we're excited about what the future holds.
Is there anybody, we have the wireless mics here, anybody that would have a question for John here relative to the media? I think we've got one here. Got a question for you, John. Hang loose here.
Just wanted to ask what that plan might look like going forward, how much concentration on Notre Dame, and what type of coverage the Hockey East will get as well.
I think the question is how much Notre Dame, how much Hockey East. I think that the exciting thing is that we're working with Tom Nevela and the Notre Dame team as we lay that out, starting the year after next. And our hope is to get a very robust schedule on our air of both Notre Dame games and obviously, when the opportunity arises, Hockey East games as well.
Anybody else have a question? Okay, John, thank you very much. We appreciate your being with us today. Our final speaker this afternoon is the head hockey coach at the University of Notre Dame. He's beginning his 7th season in that role, and he's already taken the Irish to the NCAA championships on 4 occasions, including 2 appearances in the Frozen Four. Please welcome Jeff Jackson.
Thank you. Obviously, this is a huge day for our program. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Joe and Mike for being here today and giving us the opportunity to play in one of the premier conferences in college hockey. Without question, and knowing the coaches in that league and the programs in that league, it's going to give us an opportunity to play some of the top teams in the country on a regular basis, to play for a conference and playoff championship. And hopefully it's going to create a long-term relationship as far as our alumni out east, and also with the young men that we try to coach on a day-to-day basis. I think it's important that they have a great experience in the environment in which they play. Obviously, we've arranged for that to happen here on campus, but going to places like Boston College, Boston University, New Hampshire, Vermont, go down the list, they're all tremendous institutions and also tremendous hockey programs. So this is going to be a great time for us, and in the meantime, we have to recognize and respect the great environment that we had playing in the Central Collegiate Hockey Association and all the great people that have come through that great conference over the years. It'll be very disappointing for me as a kind of a lifetime member of the CCHA to see it no longer exist in 2 years. That's where I was groomed as a coach, and that's where I followed hockey. So it's a disappointment, and yet we have work to do yet in the CCHA, and that's my task here in about an hour, is to get our guys ready to play. So the other important thing is everybody asks why we waited, why was what was the problem. I mean, I give Jack Swarbrick and Tom Nevela a lot of credit for not being the ones to cause college hockey to be blown up, and our patience, I think, was valuable to the sport. We did not want to be the ones to initiate conferences breaking up, especially the CCHA. Once the Big Ten was formed, there was obviously a lot of speculation about conferences forming to put national powers together or whatever. To me, it's more about the balance in what we're trying to do here. I think it's about the balance of playing with like-minded institutions, Division I schools, as much as possible. And the other part of it is that have the same values programs that we have as far as the importance of balance in the student-athlete's life, whether it be academics or hockey, and their social environment. So all these things came into play, and Hockey East was obviously the best choice for us. The thing it's going to do for us is going to allow our program to become even more national than it has been in the past. With a national television deal with NBC Sports, with the ability in which to play more non-conference games, with the Hockey East commitment to playing a smaller conference schedule, something that they chose to do well before we came along. Is certainly going to allow us to retain relationships and opportunities to play West and in the Midwest against teams that we've developed long-term rivalries with. And my number one objective was to be able to have the ability to schedule more home games and make sure that we have the opportunity to bring not just big-time Hockey East programs into this new building, but to also bring in some of the top programs from the West and the Midwest. And with the ability to potentially play 12 or 14 non-conference games, hopefully we'll be able to make 8 to 10 of those at home. It certainly will create a much better environment for our fans, our students, and our university. The other important part of this, in my opinion, is the national exposure with our home games being on national television is certainly going to allow us to continue to recruit kids from across the country. Recruiting was a big part of this, in my estimation, and I think that there's plenty of great players from the West that play in Hockey East. So it's not uncommon for kids because the sport is more national now. So this is an exciting time for us, and we look forward to this new partnership. I'm looking forward to actually, going to the coaches' meetings this year because of my great respect for guys like Jack Parker and Jerry York, Dick Umili. There's a lot of tremendous coaches in this league, and I have previous real strong relationships with most of them. So. Looking forward to this opportunity, and we're extremely excited and honored to be part of the Hockey East Association. Thank you.
At this time, we'd like to open it up to questions from the media. Just raise your hand if you have a question, and we'll get you a microphone.
Jack, could you elaborate a little bit on what this television deal looks like in terms of how frequently now we'll be seeing Notre Dame on television and things of that nature?
I can't. Those details will emerge in the coming weeks. We have the outlines of it in place, but a little more work to do, and we want to coordinate that announcement with NBC. But I can say, I think, without reservation, that the University of Notre Dame's hockey team will have a more robust national television platform than any hockey program in the country.
Anybody else have anything for Jack? Any other questions?
Jimmy in South Bend Tribune. Jack, did the conference shuffle nationally in football delay this announcement or affect it in any way?
No, it didn't. It just helped make sure that anything I did in any day involved alignment in some way or another. But no, the timetable was ours, and I think Jeff spoke very effectively to it. We did not want to be an initiator. We worried a lot about the consequences for other programs around the country. College hockey can't afford to lose programs as an industry, as a broad group. And so we were very conscious of trying to do what we could to make sure that we didn't disrupt anyone's program, and to the extent we could, we helped find homes for others in the action we took. But beyond that, we wanted it to be a deliberate process. We didn't quite understand the haste that some other people might have felt about this, and fortunately everyone we worked with gave us the time we needed to make our decision and make it in a thoughtful manner. And once we reached that conclusion, we were very pleased with where we were.
Jake Brown with Irish Illustrated. Just how difficult was it to maintain your patience in this process and not be an initiator and also find the right fit?
I think it was easier than you might think. Part of it was because the choices narrowed themselves down pretty quickly. We started with the three that I mentioned that we focused on. We concluded relatively early in the process that the scheduling challenges of an independent model wasn't going to work. So then we came down to two very good options and spent time talking to our colleagues with both of them, and it just sort of moved at a deliberate pace, but one we were very comfortable with.
Sam Gans, The Observer. You kind of just mentioned it a little bit, but could you maybe talk about the timetable as far as kind of when things fully started to develop with Hockey East, when you kind of reached the ultimate decision to move to Hockey East, if there was a specific point for this kind of gradual process? You know, it's so evolutionary, it's hard to say there's one time we sat in a room and said, there were just a host of conversations that pointed us in one direction. We tested that theory, Jeff, Tom, and I, through several conversations we had. I mean, I would say we took the last lap of this, the final run through the checklist, testing our judgment in the last week to 10 days.